No Doubter Nation, it is week 17 of the 2022 Major League Baseball season, and we are back for another weekly Major League Baseball recap here on No Doubter. I'm your co-host, Travis T-Bone Lawfully, with my right-hand man, as always, Barrett Boom Bostick. Boom, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. It is hot, but something happened here in the great state of Texas that hasn't happened in a while. Water fell from the sky. I didn't know how to react. It's like, what
Yes,
is
the
this?
the rain for the first time in like over 2 months, I think at this point now of measurable rain. It it was a
Yes.
serotonin boost that I did not know I needed.
Oh yeah.
It was fantastic. Yeah, cooled everything down, just made
Mm-hmm.
things smell nice and fresh. Went out after work to go pick myself up some Chipotle. We're not sponsored by them. I just like their food. Just have to shout it out there. And got some good grub in my stomach there. I got to get a taste of the fresh air while I was out. So yeah, just an overall good day. And so yeah, we get to talk about baseball and that, which makes it even better.
For the day because right now I'm watching your Rangers beat up on my Astros, which isn't the most fun thing in the world. But hey,
Well,
get your victories while you can, right?
yes, I mean I'm not. Yeah, we're up right now 4-0 at the top of the fourth, but I don't put a whole lot of stock into that because as I've seen with my Rangers this year, things can turn on a dime, and it's either starting pitching doesn't really do anything, and we can't get runs, and then we come in with our bullpen and hold things down, and still can't score runs, or our starting pitching is great. And then our bullpen just completely the wheels fall off and it turns into a whole new game at that point. So yes, we will see. But hey, and if the Rangers find a way to get this series win here, and get a nice opening win here to start the series, wouldn't be opposed to that.
There you go, Martin Perez. It's a good thing you didn't give him up because man, oh man, that guy he's a stud. You need to hang on to that guy, build around him, bring up Jack Leiter, bring up Kumar. I mean,
Yes.
both your guys who you're Marcus Simeon and Corey Seager both have homers off the Astros tonight.
Yes,
So
we need the pitching help because I after seeing my Rangers on Sunday and Spencer Howard being out there on the mound, that is not going to get the job done. So uh, we need the help for sure, and certainly need the help in the outfield as well too, in that part of the lineup. But that's neither here nor there. We've got my Rangers. I don't even have plans really to talk about them today because there's certainly way more teams that deserve the
yeah.
attention comparably that are actually in it and have storylines at this point in the year. But with that in mind, we're going to no pouring score this week. We're taking a week off. I'm just sipping on a little beverage I've got here beside myself tonight. But we are going to start out with that in mind, the way that we start out our shows otherwise, and that is with our no doubter of the week, and it is none other than my man Nathaniel Lowe, Texas
Yeah.
Rangers from Sunday, the game that I was at
Yes.
high above home plate, sitting and watching it. So,
You
boom,
saw it in real life.
I did see it in real life. Unfortunately, I was starting to kind of check out of the game, and I had my phone down, and I hear the crack of the bat. And I look up, and it's like, yep, that thing is that thing is gone. It's
Yes.
but yeah, if you want to pull Mr. Lowe's run up here on
I
screen.
would be happy to. So, we'll set the scene, and you can provide what little commentary you can on the eyewitness account. But I guess for the viewers back home, and if you are unable to see this, people, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you can see all of our no doubters of the week. And really, I don't blame you for checking out this point. It's the bottom of the seventh. White Sox are up 8-1.
Yes.
So it's rough. You got Diekman pitching against Nathaniel Lau, who was 2 for 3 on the night, so he's fighting the bat pretty well. So it's the bottom of the seventh. It's another blowout, but then boom, he follows through on the swing. I mean, it just love what they even said no doubter. Look at that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm more and more intrigued as time goes by. I think I can't remember if we've had a no doubter so far this season that has happened at Globe Life Field. Maybe
Boom.
one, maybe two tops.
Yes.
The most I can remember. I don't even remember what
20
who they
rows
would have been
back.
from there. But as I've talked about before, I think the Rangers really need to invest in pitching because the way that Globe Life Field plays comparative to the old Globe Life Park across the street it just has a very cavernous kind of feel to it. It is a place where just offense just kind of gets lost there for whatever reason, just depending on terms of like how the ball flies, how the air reacts of it being indoors, just kind of whether it's more of like a downhill or an uphill type of playing. I think it's maybe more of an uphill kind of playing part comparative to Globe Life Park. That it's it is those balls that are hit more out towards kind of interestingly enough, like the more you can get the launch angle and the velocity kind of more straight out center, and then or it kind of it hits more towards like down the middle of like the left or right field there, the better it is. There's not a lot of really deep like hard left or hard right hit balls that I think get out there, and there's you have to be able to work the small ball. You have to be able to get those power hits out into the outfield there, get on base, push runs across that way, because it is kind of place where I think maybe there's the advantage a little bit of maybe kind of some depth perception advantage a bit where the outfield, the defense has the ability to track down the ball easier than maybe you would at other parks there. I've just seen, it seems like a really crazy closing rate in that regard. That some players have every once in a while. But I think, it's interesting how Globe Life Field plays that way. It's still, yeah, I mean, we looked at their final score. It was 8-2 ultimately there. You can certainly push across the runs there. Just Rangers team just isn't. It hasn't been really built to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
the just sitting in a -1 run differential right now. I mean, certainly we're so much better offensively than we were last year, but there's not quite the total team that needs to be competitive. And certainly, it's really going to start on the mound, and that's why I'm looking forward to the future of guys like Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker to make their
Yes.
way, and even further offensive spark from potentially Josh Young getting the call up before the end of the season. He just finished up his rehab stint.
There you go.
There he got activated by Round Rock. They're playing up in Oklahoma City, I believe, against the OKC Dodgers up there, who are the Dodgers AAA team. And so he's just had a very strong return to baseball, since the injury back over the offseason. And it's there's another future piece that could potentially be on the way as well.
Yes, the future is bright for the Rangers. It is within grasp. I'm certainly optimistic about your chances. I want you guys to contend with the Astros. The AL West is much better off when the Texas teams are duking it out like they did not so long ago. But congratulations to Nathaniel Lau, 452 feet, all of it, maybe hitting it off of the slider, 110.9 miles per hour off the bat. So congratulations. This is the first no doubter of the week that is given to a Texas Ranger. It is the best award they will win all season long. Unless a miracle happens.
Did you give that to him as a sympathy bid, or
No,
did you think he was legitimately the best home run of?
No, I mean I did the check like I do every week, and I mean that one was the furthest. And I mean the announcer said it himself. I mean if the announcer calls it a no doubter, I mean there you go. And again, it's all subjective. There is so much bias in the show. It emanates from us, but
yes, it does.
Yes, it certainly does. But no, yeah. Let's move on down to some general topics. And this Thursday night, it is the second ever Field of Dreams game. It's taking place Dyersville, Iowa, the cornfields. The Cincinnati Reds will be playing the Chicago Cubs. It's going to be tough to beat last year's Field of Dreams game between the Yankees and the White Sox. Of course, that was the best way to do it because I mean the Yankees are the Yankees, but the movie itself is based around the Blackhawks, aka the White Sox. So that was the best way to start it. And last year's Field of Dreams game was legitimately a really good game. It was like 3-1 bomb, 3-1 bomb, 3-1 bomb here. It was just trading homers left and right. And then, of course, it's a walk-off home run by Tim Anderson.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to be tough. I mean, so it's a game, everyone's watching it. It broke all kinds of records in terms of regular season viewing, and it was an epic walk-off win. So this time around, and the Cincinnati Reds with the Chicago Cubs. Now, I don't, I don't fault MLB for going like this. They're trying to attract the natural fan base, which is smart.
Yeah. They've made a decision this year to go with National League as opposed to the American League last
Yeah.
year. You've got another Midwest. You got two Midwest teams there, both Cincinnati and Chicago. And Chicago, which certainly is a very short drive from Dyersville out there. But it's just these two teams are nowhere near the quality
Yeah.
caliber teams that last year's White Sox and Yankees were. So it's it's just not going to. I don't think anybody expects the same quality of baseball to be played as we saw last year.
Yeah, the probable pitchers are going to be Smiley from the Cubs and Nodolo from the Reds. Both of them have a 3.97 and 4.4 ERA, respectively. So, not terrible, but it's certainly not elite. I will definitely at least tune into a little bit of it. They chose it. It is what it is. If they're going to keep this going, I wonder if they'll go back to the AL, and it would definitely. I'm interested in further matchups. To be honest, these two teams are 16 games back. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fun. But like I said, I will at least check in because it's something different. And I think while it won't break last year's records, I still think people will head on over to Fox and at least check it out a little bit. And if it's a good game, they might stick around because you have the visual appeal. And I don't know how much longer they're going to do this game, but I think it's certainly worth doing, especially when it's some marquee ones. And I think that MLB is going to try harder to have some marquee ones. They're probably going to do the Dodgers at some point because, I mean, they got to. And then, but share the love. I don't know. It's going to be one of those things where it's like, it's our team's turn. So it would be awesome if it was Rangers. if it was Rangers Astros. Just all Texas.
Great.
Oh man. Just all the state of Texas is gonna watch. One can only dream, but that's taking place this Thursday evening at I believe 6:15 p.m. Central. So we will definitely have a recap for y'all next Tuesday when we come back. And then we have two other short things before we go into our normal recaps. So we all agree that the San Diego Padres won the trade deadline. They were the winners. They got all the sexy picks. They got Josh Bell, Juan Soto, and Josh Hader. And
they're now on a 5-game losing streak.
Yes. They are not coming into fruition, which that's just funny, man. It's just funny how it's just not. It didn't happen like that. I mean, you juxtapose that with the Astros. The Astros get Trey Mancini, and he hits 3 homers in the course of 2 games, including his first ever grand slam. And yeah, the Astros haven't won every single game, but it was an immediate firepower. You look at the Padres; the bats were cold. It's just bad timing. So. Yikes. And it's just a funny thing to point out. It takes a whole team. You can't just put a top 3 player in your lineup and expect an immediate turnaround. It takes all the players.
Yes, as my Rangers learned this year that you can make worthy investments in bringing guys on, but having to understand like what the long game is of that because one Marcus Semien and one Corey Seager are not enough to turn around an entire baseball team. One that has been mired in so much bad baseball for so long. It is the total team effort. It is the mix of chemistry of your free agency of your farm system, of your drafting, of your trades, your long-term development of guys, the whole 9 yards, or all four bases in this case here. You've got to you've got to cover the entire field. Yeah, one man alone cannot do it. That is the beauty of the game of baseball.
There you go. That is the beauty of the game of baseball. But I will tell you, a team that is back and a team that is at full strength for the first time this whole season, a team that is oh so scary. I will go and do a more in-depth analysis of them when we do the recaps, but just briefly touching base on it. The New York Mets are at full strength. They have DeGrom, they have Scherzer. They are 1-2 punches back. Their starting pitchers are healthy. They're having fun. DeGrom is throwing upwards of 102 miles an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mets are scary.
They're getting hot at the right time of year. It's a great time to be healthy, to have guys playing at the top of their game, showing to be a complete team. It's the there's gonna be some fun baseball in New York City this fall. That is for sure.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to go over it, but let's just say when we get to our power rankings, there are 4 teams. It is a 4-horse race, really, when it comes to the power rankings. 2 of them are in the AL, and 2 of them are in the NL. You could probably guess them all, but hint, the Mets are one of them. And I mean, is it just going to be these 4 teams in the championship series? I don't know. If we just go chalk talk and do the records, we'll see. But I've been very impressed with the Mets. As of now, they're a 7-game lead over the Braves. The Braves, they were coming within striking distance, but no. Enter DeGrom, and it's looking like it's over. And they have breathing room, and I mean, they're having fun over there in Queens. I mean, it's something palpable. It's something tangible. I watch Mets games, and the fans, they show up and they're into it. So it's nice to see the love spread around. The Big Apple has been it's been the place for baseball this year, without a doubt. You've had the Fairweather fans coming out of the woodwork like that Homer Simpsons meme. They go into the bush and they come out wearing either Mets or Yankees hats.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, speaking of that, let's go ahead. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the divisions. Trav, I'm turning it back over to you, man.
Absolutely. We're going to start off, as always, with the American League East. And, not a whole lot new to talk about here. As we've talked about every single time, this division is absolutely ridiculous. The New York Yankees now, not just at the this couldn't have been that long ago that we were talking about this team crossing the century mark in terms of their run differential. They have now doubled that, more than doubled that. Now have a plus 206 run differential on the year. They're sitting at 71-39 on the year, 645 winning percentage, 41-15 at home, 30-24 away. It's kind of interesting. Like, they're definitely considerably better at home than they are away. They're just dominant at home. 30-24, that's nothing to scoff at, but it just shows like it is another level of baseball they're playing when they get up there, when they're up at home at Yankee Stadium. And this team continues on just the path that they've been on all year. Aaron Judge is absolutely phenomenal. He has 44 home runs on the year. He now has a greater than 300 batting average. Touch briefly here. I'm kind of spitballing a little bit because my unfortunately some of my tabs I have open here are are not working like they were just a few minutes ago. So the Toronto Blue Jays are also having a very good season. Recently dismissed their manager, and seems maybe giving them a little bit of spark here. They're now sitting 10.5 games behind the Yankees at this point. Really is going to take something incredible for them to I think ultimately surpass the Yankees and win this division, but very safely in the wild card as of right now. They're at that 550 winning percentage on the year, 34-21 at home, 26-28 on the road. Alek Manoah, the former West Virginia Mountaineer, just continues to be absolutely dominant on the mound. got they've got the offensive firepower that could go with it as well, and that certainly has been working more in their favor lately, having the plus 61 run differential on the year. The Tampa Bay Rays just continue to sit right there in the grand scheme of things. Yandy Diaz, the third baseman right now, slashing 276, 390, and 384. Isaac Paredes, the third baseman, has leading this team with 14 home runs on the year, has a 222 batting average and 31 RBIs to complement that part of his game as well. Randy Arozarena, the star player from last year, certainly been playing well this season overall. 51 runs batted in. It's leading this team. Also has 12 home runs and a 258 batting average to his credit. On the pitching side of things, we've talked about Shane McClanahan many a times on the show. 2.24 ERA, has 10 wins, credited him as a starter. 161 strikeouts on the year. That is ridiculous. And then continuing, starting to give the props once again to the Baltimore Orioles, just continuing to exceed all expectations I think anybody within baseball had last year. They're 13 and a half games behind the first place in the division. However, still very much in the wild card race at this point of the year, boasting a +7 run differential. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They just Trey Mancini now is playing down in Houston. But there's still some other guys that can get things done as well for this team. And certainly it looks like things are ultimately working out for them at the moment here. It still gives them a decent fighting chance while we'll still also building for the future as well too. It's talked about 7-3 in their last 10 games. But the Red Sox, boy, oh boy, is this just are things just turning into more and more of a dumpster fire, unfortunately, for the Red Sox at this time of year. Chris Sale breaks his hand, I believe, and I think it was like a cycling accident or some sort of or like a car crash or something. There and is on the IL now. The man gets healthy and then now he's unhealthy again. Tough times up there on the Haba, because it's not you're looking at the rest of your division having fun. It's like that SpongeBob meme of Squidward looking out his window and Patrick and SpongeBob are down running around out there, and they've got like the logos like over their faces and stuff to represent who they are. That's the American League East, and Boston right now are just kind of watching from their apartment window as everybody else is having fun and is right there in the thick of it. Possibly with the possibility that the that the entire wild card this year in the American League is occupied by the AL East. And right now, things are just trending in the wrong direction for the Red Sox, sitting 4-6 in their last 10 games. Just the woes that they've had with injuries, with offense. Everything is just a mess, unfortunately, for them right now. But other than that, if you're a fan of the other four teams, it's good times in baseball land.
It is a good time in baseball land. The AL East is competitive as always, but what a downfall for the Red Sox. Their trade deadline acquisitions were interesting, to say the least.
That's a very nice way to put it.
Yeah, and now this happens. They were looking forward to Sale coming back, and it just completely blows up in their face. They're just throwing so much money at him, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Cannot stay healthy.
I do not envy you, Red Sox fans. Better luck next year. So let's go on down to the NL East, and it is all the New York Mets. I touched on them briefly, but I have to give them some more love. They are on a 4-game win streak. They have won 8 out of their last 10 games. They have a 7-game lead over the Atlanta Braves. The Braves came within striking distance, but the Mets are pulling away. The Braves are on a 3-game losing streak, so the path that the discrepancy has been widened. This Mets team, you have to take them extremely seriously at this point. And one of the key aspects that we don't talk about as much is Lindor's back. He's just quietly having a pretty awesome season. 19 bombs on the year, 268 batting average, 457 slugging, 802 OPS. He has the highest wins above replacement on the entire team. I mean, come on. It's his comeback has been remarkable. Yeah, he's not necessarily contending with the all-star shortstops of the day, but he is solid. An 802 OPS, that is rock solid. I mean, if you can get that out of every single one of your players, you're awesome. Pete Alonso's having a breakout year, 29 bombs on the year. The guy just all he does is hit no doubters, and I'm sure he will win our no doubter, a very objective no doubter of the week award prior to the season being done. But he's having fun. Starling Marte's having fun too with an 806 OPS. The love just gets shared among this team. That is one of the keys to their success. When it comes to pitching, DeGrom is back. He has pitched 10 and 2/3 innings, 2.53 ERA, 0.47 whip. Again, extremely small sample size, but he was clocking in at around upwards of 102 miles per hour. So he is back. They have to monitor him. They have to keep him. They have to be very, very careful. And I'm sure they are going, they timed it well because he is delivering. And I'm sure he's going to get better and better as he gets warmed up. But in the meantime, you got Scherzer, 1.98 ERA, 0.90 whip. I mean, that's just disgusting right there. And then Bassett, Carrasco, and Walker all have ERAs below 4. I mean, it's really not terrible. Bassett is, I mean, he's a workhorse. He's been pitching so many innings, 130 innings. The guy's got a 3.39 ERA, 1.12 whip. It's nothing to scoff at all. I mean, you got that at your 1, 2, and 3. You're in great shape. The Braves kind of faltering a little bit, and I was concerned about them at the beginning. They were pushing away, but they're just they need to find their feet again. They still have the talent. Matt Olson fits like a glove with an 818 OPS. Austin Riley, it's a good thing that they locked him in because Austin Riley is just one of the unsung heroes of all of baseball. 29 bombs, 296 average, 584 slugging, 942 OPS. Those are in fantastic numbers. Dansby Swanson, 809 OPS, 16 bombs on the year. He's quietly one of the best shortstops in baseball. I think the downfall when it comes to the Braves is their pitching. And really, Charlie Morton, it's unfortunate that he has a 4.09 ERA. I think he's past his prime at this point. The Astros certainly enjoyed him for when he was, nasty Charlie Morton, but he's not entirely useless. Ian Anderson, 5.11 ERA. But I mean, you still got Max Fried with a 2.60 ERA, Kyle Wright with a 3.22. But it's just besides those two, it's pretty hit or miss. Spencer Strider hasn't had the innings that they've expected out of him, and they just really got to hope that Fried and Wright can hold down the fort because if they can't, it's going to be tough. I mean, they might make the playoffs, but can they go do a deep run? You want to put it past them. They have the postseason experience, but you got to be careful. And then there is one team that I have yet to cover. It's a team that is slowly but surely fighting its way into relevance. While they might be a mere 10 games behind, it is a scrappy team, a team that is in the wild card if the season were to stop today. The Braves have a 4-game lead in the wild card, but a 1-game lead belongs to the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's unpack this team a little bit. Nick Castellanos is a complete bust this year. He has 10 bombs on the year, a negative 0.6 wins above replacement. That ain't going to cut it. It is very disappointing. Kyle Schwarber, on the other hand, 34 bombs on the year. That's a whole lot. 204 batting average. Not that great, but still 304 bombs on the year. These are like Joey Gallo numbers, except they're actually worth a darn because he has 34 bombs. 805 OPS. Reese Hoskins, 24 bombs, 841 OPS. I mean, come on. That's incredible. Bryce Harper, the guy's still out, but man, when he was in, oh boy, was he incredible. They got to hope to get him back in. I'll get an injury report on him in a sec. When it comes to the pitching, it's not too shabby either. Aaron Nola, 3.17 ERA. Fantastic. 0.95 whip. Zach Wheeler, 2.69 ERA. He was my pick for the Cy Young. Now, I think he can win, just at any point. I mean, he's certainly talented, and a 2.69 ERA is not terrible, but you certainly have plenty more NL pitchers like Scherzer who just have better numbers. So, but still, he's a rock solid starter. And when you got Nola and Wheeler, and even Kyle Gibson with a 4.36, not too shabby. This team, they can sneak their way into the postseason. When a lot of other teams, a lot of other people, they didn't give him a lot of credit. When it comes to Bryce Harper, he is on the 10-day IL. He has not regained as much flexibility in his thumb as anticipated. He is not yet ready to face pitchers. When will he be ready? That remains to be seen. But they need to get him back, because if for some reason the Philadelphia Phillies sneak their way into the postseason, they are going to want Bryce Harper. This is a top 5 player in the game. And if they have him on their squad, they give themselves the best chance to make it far. And there you go. That's my update for the NL East.
Man, I love it. They're the East Coast is here. Just great baseball being played up East and down. Coast, it's some say the bullish Western U.S. dwellers. Some of them might say East Coast, least coast, but I say opposite this year. I think they are the coast with the most in 2022, especially here in baseball land. But yes, let's now at this time of the show we start making our trek further out west. And I'm about to say, folks, we're going to go to America's Heartland, and we're going to start in the American League Central and talk about the division leading Minnesota Twins, but they only sit up by 1 game right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. But the Guardians and the White Sox right below them have been playing better lately in this mess of a division here. This isn't a division by any stretch that has firepower. A lot of it to it, if we're going to be honest here. Like at the top here, you've got the plus 27 run differential with the Twins. The team 2.5 games behind them. The White Sox have a minus 14 run differential, and the Royals and the Tigers can't hit the broadside of a barn. They're at minus 120 and 130 run differentials respectively here. We kind of patronize this division a little bit here because of how weak it has been this year. But we're going to give them the due here. We're going to talk about these teams being just behind and knocking on the door here of it. So it's the same old kind of with Minnesota right now. Luis Arias, Byron Buxton, Jorge Polanco leading the charge offensively for this team. The Joe Ryan show continues now. He has 89 strikeouts on the year. The Guardians here, Andres Jimenez, the second baseman, is knocking on the door now of a 300 batting average on the year, and also completing that slash line with 364 on base percentage and a 481 slugging percentage. Jose Ramirez, the star third baseman, leading this team in home runs and runs batted in at 21 and 87 respectively. Also boasts a 284 batting average on the year. Tristan McKenzie, Shane Bieber holding things down on the mound as they've been all year. The White Sox here, yeah. Once again, this team is just it's interesting here. It doesn't help that Tim Anderson has a hand issue that's putting him on the injured list for a little bit. I got to see my Rangers play these guys on Sunday. It's been a struggle for Lucas Giolito this year. He was on the mound for them. He threw over 100 100, not 100 innings, 100. That'd be a wild game. This isn't cricket. He threw over 100 pitches and I think about like a 6 inning span on Sunday there. Had really good command of things. Not a whole lot of velocity, not a whole lot of crazy pitches there, but just solid and consistent. Was able to get the job done for them there in that 8-2 win over my Rangers. Jose Abreu, the first baseman, leading this team in home runs of 400 on the year, batting a 300 flat average and 55 RBIs to go with that. Luis Robert, the center fielder, 56 runs batted in, leads this team, also has 12 home runs, and is also knocking on the door of a 300 batting average at this point, too. Dylan Cease, the ultimate all-star game snub here, just under 2 ERA right now, 166 strikeouts, 12 wins here. Oh, man, Boom, how do you feel about this division here? Is this a division that if somebody or any one of these teams, I mean, it's with the expanded wild card this year, it's not inconceivable that that one of these teams isn't that far above 500, but with how with the expanded wild card and how the floor for that in terms of one of the final spots in there isn't far off from 500 either. If one or more of these teams makes it into the playoffs, are there any of those three teams that you look at that's just like kind of just be like, hey, watch out? This record isn't super impressive on paper for the regular season, but if they get in, they could go on a run in the playoffs this year.
Man, I just wouldn't really. When you look at the American League side of things, I just think that Astros in the Yankees they're extremely formidable. I think the Blue Jays, they have the depth. And so when you look at other teams besides those, I think the Rays are a scrappy team should they make it. It's just these teams just don't have playoff experience. I know the White Sox made it last year, but their team's just been very inconsistent as of late. So I just, it could be a miracle. I mean, the Nationals won in 2019 when they were the wild card team. They won the whole thing, but I'm not putting a lot of stock in these teams. Maybe with Carlos Correa being on the Twins, he gives them some pep in their step. He's like, hey, I'm used to this. I'm used to being in the playoffs, and this is how we do it. This is our mindset. That might actually be worth the darn. So really, if I'm going to have to pick any of these teams, I mean, I'd pick the Twins. I just think that they have the best depth. I'm extremely excited about the Guardians. I'm very impressed with this team. And Cleveland fans, it gives them something to be happy about because the Guardians are a phenomenal team. They split the series against the Astros, and I mean, they got talent. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's this division's a toss up for sure. None of us really know. We'll
That's what makes it exciting.
Absolutely, yeah. That is what makes this game beautiful here. That is unpredictable. It involves series. It involves total team performances. It involves at the end. Once we hit the month of October, the hunt for October, and that World Series trophy, who's seen whoever's going to raise it begins. It is then a total evaluation from each series from beginning to end of what did the story tell about that team that moves on in that side of the bracket. And so those stories will be written very soon, but we still got plenty of games for the next couple months to play there. And we got some, we're going to send it out to another, we're going to keep things here in America's Heartland as well. Send it out now to the National League Central, where my team that I predicted to win this division has gone back into the driver's seat now and holds the keys and controls their own destiny to it. Boom. Let's talk about this division, the one NL Central.
Yes, and of course, the team you're talking about is the St. Louis Cardinals. They're on a 7-game win streak, people. They've won 9 of their last 10. They have a 2-game lead over the Brewers. And this team, it's being led by one man in particular. They are led by a lot, but one man who is just the overwhelming front runner for the MVP, and that's Mr. Paul Goldschmidt. the video game numbers, they're there, and they just do not go away. 26 bombs, 332 average, 415 on base percentage, 614 slugging, 1.029 OPS. And those are stupid numbers. I mean, and then Nolan Arenado, who won Player of the Week for the second time this year, and this guy's got a 920 OPS, 301 batting average, 551 slugging, 22 bombs. I mean, when you got your infield is so stacked on top of stacked. And then your supporting cast isn't too shabby either. Dylan Carlson, for crying out loud, 715 OPS, 7 bombs in the year. Tommy Edman, 686 OPS. It's not I mean, it's not great, but a 256 average is pretty rock solid. He's putting a lot of innings in. This is a team that's just, it spreads the load. It's the nostalgia trip for this team. Albert Pujols, 7 bombs on the year, 711 OPS, 228 batting average. I mean, his contributions are intangible at this rate. He and Yadier Molina, their wins above replacement are literally 0 and negative 0.1s respectively. But I mean, you gotta think that it's going to be their last year on the team for both of them. They're having fun. They're showing the leadership. And I truly believe that they are providing a piece of the puzzle. It's the pitching, however, that is really keeping this team in the mix. Miles Mikola is a 2.92 ERA, fantastic. Adam Wainwright, 3.42 ERA, which isn't too shabby, not at all. He's a workhorse, too, putting in a lot of innings, 134 so far. You got Andre Palante, 3.03 ERA. You got Dakota Hudson with a 4.20 ERA. Could be better, but it certainly could be worse as well. This team is just, they've got weapons the whole way through. And then when it comes to the Brewers, I really think that when they traded away Josh Hader, it took the wind out of their sails. This team is on a 2-game losing streak. They've only won 4 out of their last 10. And I just...
a very puzzling trade deadline for the Brewers. It's like they didn't go aggressively, like being right in the thick of things, and like being on the verge of a team that could really compete here. It's like whatever.
I mean, yeah, it's just they wanted to sell high on Josh Hader, but it's like, why now? I mean, your team is still competitive.
Like, go get a ring. Come on.
Come on. It's your fans. I mean, you screwed them over. I mean, at this point, you might as well just sell everybody because that was a sell kind of move. And that was, I'm pretty sure that was their only transaction. I mean, Christian Yelich, he's okay this year. Okay is better than ineffective. He's got a 756 OPS. Rowdy Tellez, 803 OPS, 22 bombs. So does Willie Adames, a great pickup from last year from the Tampa Bay Rays. Pitching-wise, my pick to win the Cy Young, I had thought it was Zach Wheeler, but it was actually Corbin Burns. 2.45 ERA, 0.93 whip. It's certainly still possible. You definitely got to look at Scherzer, though. That guy is probably the front runner. But other than that, Eric Lauer, 3.59 ERA, Aaron Ashby, 4.32, Brandon Woodruff. His ERA is starting to come down a little bit, which is great to see. 3.49 ERA. Last year he was elite, but it's just they don't have it. They don't have Josh Hader, so he's gone. I mean, last year they had Josh Hader, Brandon Woodruff, and Corbin Burns, and all 3 of those people were pitching out of their minds. This time, Burns is still solid, but Woodruff has taken a long time to come back down, and now they don't even have Josh Hader. So I can't give this team any stock. I can't give him any credit. I mean, I have no faith in this team. I do have faith in the Cardinals because they're the hot team on the block. But for the Brewers, get out of here. I mean, their fans have got to be very frustrated. I know I would be frustrated because, yeah, 2 games isn't terrible, but I mean, it's just... It affected players. You could tell in their interviews. So it's all going to be a party up in St. Louis, baby. And one of the most formidable fan bases in all of baseball they are happy. They are happy. They are showing up. It is Busch Stadium is rocking, and
Yes, I
they
believe
are
they set the
yes.
record just a few days ago for the largest crowd ever in attendance at Busch Stadium, and
There you
it's
go. It's the 10th man
yes,
in
is
full effect.
yeah,
So
they're getting their postseason atmosphere started early because the Cards fans, they can smell it. They can smell a special team and one that has the horses to compete for to compete
yes.
for a National League championship title this year. And if once you get to that World Series matchup, who knows at that point? Anything can happen. So fun fun times in America's heartland with some interesting storylines here, even if not as strong from top to bottom. But let's finish this episode out today talking about the AL West to start here, the Western division teams here, both in the American League and the National League here. So we start with the AL West side. Houston Astros, what do we guys say? Yeah, they split a series with the Guardians. Do drop a series as well to the Red Sox. Gets swept by the A's. But as a wise man named Ron Washington once said, that's just how baseball go. But there's still plenty of horses on this team here to compete in terms of a total team package here. Eric Jordan Alvarez, designated hitter, killing things all around from his slashing percentage 300, 407, 638, leading the team with home runs and RBI at 30 and 73, respectively. Pitching, Justin Verlander. We've talked about how great he has been all year. But Christian Javier as well, too. Now, got to give him a shout out with 132 strikeouts on the year. That leads this team. Not nowhere near the ERA that Verlander's sporting, with Javier's being at 3.14 and only 6 wins to his credit. But knows how to get in there and get the job done when it's his time. The Mariners right now, friends, the fun differential is a long gone thing with this program. As of this year, Mariners right now sitting at plus 13 run differential on the year. They are 5-5 in their last 10 games, as are the Astros too. But there's a reason why this team has been the improvement that they have been. We've spoken about Ty France. Now he's cracked the 300 batting average at this point on the year. It's complementing it with an on-base percentage of 373 and a slugging percentage of 470. Eugenio Suarez, the third baseman, 18 home runs, leads this team. Also is batting 230 with 58 runs batted in. That also leads this team. It's interesting that they are so. They're not absolutely blowing things away offensively here, but they've got there's some good things to look at with this team in terms of being 13th in the league in on base percentage, and then 20th in slugging percentage. I mean, that can certainly be better. But they're not dead last in terms of what their offense is doing, and their pitching certainly has been where things have been at this year. Logan Gilbert's ERA might be a 3.47, but he does boast 10 wins as a starter and 122 strikeouts. Robbie Ray leading this team at 149 strikeouts. I think the Mariners here, they definitely play well at home. They can also play pretty good on the road too. They've got certainly, I think if the Mariners can get in one of these wild card spots, again, we're not looking at them probably winning the American League this year, but they could very well be in contention to get an ALDS win if they get into that side of things with the bracket. Things still sit pretty status quo for this division. Boom. How about you tell us what is going down right now in the NL West? We touched on the Padres here. Things are unfortunately trending in the wrong direction after a blockbuster trade here. But the Dodgers, they look as strong as ever, and some other good teams as well playing baseball here.
Yes, a good team on paper, on a win streak ever since the acquisition of their new star player, Joey Gallo. Because he single-handedly is the reason why they're on an 8-game win streak. not really, but still. Oh, the Dodgers. What can we say about this team? RIP Vin Scully. It has given this team the firepower that they have needed. But when you're the best team on paper, paper speaks. It speaks volumes. They're on an 8-game win streak. They are 9-1 of their last 10 games. They have the best run differential at plus 226. It is extremely daunting. They are 16 games ahead of the Padres. That's the largest lead in a division in all of baseball. Oh, the Padres. You kept it interesting, but the 5-game win streak did not hurt. It did not help. But even if that didn't happen, let's just pretend that they were on a 5-game win streak. They would still be 11 games back. But now they're 16 games back. And it's just, Tatis hasn't come back. And that's just, you're in a tough division. And it's rough for you guys. I mean, the Dodgers, you keep looking at them, and it's just, you can look at them for days. It's the love is being spread around. Cody Bellinger quietly having a good season. 15 bombs on the year. Yeah, 212 batting average, but he, like Yelich, the lefties, the southpaws are making their return. Mookie Betts, 25 bombs on the year, 881 OPS. Freddie Freeman, 926 OPS. He's batting 324 with a 400 on base percentage, 526 slugging. I mean, those are amazing numbers right there. Golly, he is making the most of his time in LA. Trey Turner, 844 OPS with 18 bombs in the year. This guy, I mean, he's a top 3 shortstop in the league. I mean, he's just absolutely unbelievable. The pitching of the Dodgers, that's what really sets him apart. You have 4 starting pitchers with ERAs below 3. I mean, come on. Like Tyler Anderson, 272, Julio Urias, 257, Tony Gonsolin, 230, Clayton Kershaw, 264. And this is all, you're not even putting Walker Buehler into the equation. And when this guy gets back into the swing of things, Walker Buehler is a fantastic pitcher. It's just that you could say that they have the best rotation in baseball. And you can make a legitimate argument for that. And Craig Kimbrell, he's your closer. I mean, it's endless. It's just the Dodgers are a scary team. And let's just say they're pretty high up on our power rankings, but we will get to that in a sec. Last but not least, I want to cover the Padres. If the season ended today, they would be in the wild card. So all is not lost. They are 16 games back, yes, but in the wild card, they are in the mix. They would be the number 3 team. They have a 1-game lead over the Brewers. But I just think this team has too much talent on it to be worried. I certainly wouldn't be worried. Manny Machado is still a stud. The offense, the love is shared in full. You got Jake Cronenworth, 11 bombs on the year, 726 OPS. Jurickson Profar, 12 bombs, 759 OPS. Trent Grisham, 13 bombs on the year as well. And when it comes to the pitching, Joe Musgrove, a 3.00 ERA. Fantastic. Yu Darvish, 326, 28. My apologies. This guy's a workhorse. He's still relevant. He is still useful. Sean Manaea, 4.74 ERA. You want to see that go down a bit. Blake Snell, man, that guy he's been quite a bust. Even though it's a 396 OPS, he just hasn't put in the innings. But let's do our Fernando Tatis checks, shall we? This guy, he's got to come back. He's on the 60-day IL. And as of 2 days ago, the manager believes that he is on track for a mid-August-ish, quote, return. Mid-August-ish. Well, when Tatis comes back, which is looking like he will come back, and I mean, if he can actually, make it rain, watch out. Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis. I mean, that's scary when it comes to the offense. And when your pitching's rock solid, you have a really scary offense on paper. This is a team that can make it deep. So, unlike the Brewers, who I'm completely writing off, I'm not writing off the Padres. Yes, we talked about them at the beginning. The 5-game losing streak. Yes, yes, yes. But this team's it's too good. They have too many pieces for that to be a continuing trend. I think they still have a legitimate shot of winning the wild card, especially once Soto and Bell get settled in. If Joe Musgrove and Darvish can continue to carry their team the way they are, then there's no reason why this team can't not only make the playoffs via the wild card, but also make a pretty decent run. So it's still a party up in San Diego. So there you go. That is the scope of things. It's these wild card races are definitely interesting, whereas the divisions are not as tight. The wild card games are really where it's the most excitement. The Baltimore Orioles with Rougned Odor, 1 game back.
Right, because he's totally been the driving force of that team.
Yes, he's sparring with them in the clubhouse. Hey, let me show you how I beat up Jose Bautista. you know, at least he's got the beard back, and he's probably a lot happier.
Yes,
So,
the environments of places like basically anywhere else other than the Yankees, where you can have the beard, and I think it's funny, like the Bronx is a working class area of New York City, but it's like it's basically taken over by like these like Tony businessman types here that are like, no, you must be clean shaven over all the time,
yes.
just stuff like that. But cities of Baltimore, the cities of Boston, they embrace the blue collar. They're like, you know what, as much facial hair as you want, however you want it, have at it, and it's a good place for him to be right there in the harbor in Baltimore.
Yes, I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's on a competitive team.
Yeah,
It's the Baltimore Orioles. You're not the laughing stock of baseball.
no, you are not.
You are far from it. Oakland Athletics, on the other hand, Washington Nationals, yikes and double yikes the whole way through. The Nationals, a negative 199 run differential. That's
And on a
just
6-game losing streak right now, 2-8 in their last 10 games.
yeah. What a fall from grace that team's been. But let's cap things off with our latest No Doubter rankings. Number 10, the Twins moving down 2 spots. Getting a little cold, but they still deserve the praise. The Padres going down 3 spots. When you lose 5 in a row, despite the acquisitions, you get knocked down. But they are still number 9. Blue Jays are a hot team. They're starting to really come into their own. They come in at number 8. Number 7, the Phillies, people. This is a team that is here to stay. They are coming in at the number 7 position. Cardinals going up 3 spots again at the number 6 position. They have taken the NL Central by storm, and they deserve the praise in the world. And now it's the top 5 teams. It's the same top 5 teams that we always talk about. There have been some shakeups. Braves maintain their lead at the number 5 position. Yankees go down a spot at number 4. The Astros were the top dogs, but now they are at number 3.
Finally, they dropped something.
Oh, I know. Yeah. The insider cooking, where has it been, right?
Yeah.
I could have put the Astros at number 2, but I decided to give the Mets some love. They have been playing very, very well. They are at number 2. And then you have to put the Dodgers at number 1. It's just at this point, I mean, they are the hottest team in baseball, so they deserve it. They have the most wins. They have the highest run differential, 8-game winning streak. It's just they're the best. But we alluded to these teams. You have these top 4 teams in particular: Dodgers, Mets, Astros, Yankees. It's looking like those 4 teams being the teams in the championship series. I would hope that at least one of those 4 teams is not in, and that we do have a little bit of a shakeup. But if we just go by records, it's those 4 teams. You got LA, New York, Houston, New York. It's just all big markets. I am hoping that the Braves, do an upset. I would love for the Cardinals to make it deep. I'd love for the Blue Jays to make it deep. I hope it's not those. Besides the Astros, I hope the other three teams. I hope it's it's a mix up. It would be cool to see the Mets go deep. The Dodgers and Yankees, I really don't care, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But there you go, week 17. We're almost there. The regular season's gonna be over in the blink of an eye. But thank y'all so much for joining us. Be sure to subscribe. We're taking you all the way to the end, baby. Subscribe to No Doubt wherever you listen to this episode. We are available on all major podcast platforms. Leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed the show. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at No Doubter Pod. You can follow me at Boombossic21 on Twitter. Travis Loftley at Travis Loftley. Subscribe to our brand new YouTube channel so you can see our beautiful faces. Tomorrow night, we're having Ashley Sanders come back on the pod for the third time. She's going to tell us all about her excitement. So if you want to actually see her while we are streaming, you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have a lot to talk about with Ashley Sanders. That's happening tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central. So hear it, see it, whatever you want. You can see that and our porn scores, which we are going to be doing a whole lot more of, we promise. Please sure to join our Patreon if you, let's say you've been listening to our show week after week after week. We would love it if you threw $2, $5, $10 our way. It helps recoup the costs. We want to give a shout out to the longest standing patron, Tad Bostic, and Patreon producer, Don Hale. You two make this show possible. We thank y'all each and every week, and you deserve it. So we thank y'all so much. You make the show possible. And lastly, check out the merch store, people. Mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, baseball shirts, clothes for the whole family. It is all there in the description below. You just click it, you order it, it goes straight to your door. You could be rocking it out this summer and winter, whatever the occasion. All the links in the description below. Travis, let's land the plane.
Friends, if you can't tell, the bats they're heating up right now. The top teams in Major League Baseball, the cream is rising to the top. The teams, they're bringing all the total pieces together. The best ones here, the product, of their drafting, of their player development, of their free agency, of their trade.